Prof, what does the future hold for President Yoweri Museveni, having been in power for close to 35 years? And this is going to be his sixth term if eventually he wins this election. What does the future hold for him?
First of all, I want to believe that if any African president is unable to do his very best in his first 2 terms of 4 years, there is absolutely nothing he's going to add as new value. So if you ask me the question, what does the future hold for a Museveni that has been there for more than 3 decades? I think it is more or less making the future cannot be different from what at least he's been witnessing. The future cannot be bright, because if Museveni has not been able to do his very best in more than 3 decades, when is it that he will be competent enough, he will be more energized, he will be more courageous, he will now have the determination to do better? No, honestly, the future of Uganda is not bright, simply because change and continuity is not the same thing as change in continuity. You hold periodical elections where you maintain the same style of governance, the same style of, I can call it violent elections. For instance, if you look at a video, I stumbled on the video of the wife of
Bobi Wine.
Bobi Wine. And now I said, could she really be the wife of a presidential candidate in an independent sovereign state like Uganda? Unbelievable. So what does the future hold? It's clear. It's sustaining what they call democracy in Uganda violently. And the future can never be bright with this type of situational reality on the ground.
Prof, I was reading through some online newspaper from Uganda spoke about Museveni, but you know, considering how he came to power and how he's been viewed as a man who liberated Uganda from the hands of dictators in those days, the Idi Amins and the rest of them. In the rural part of Uganda, he is still generally seen as a liberator, as somebody that liberated Uganda from those terrible dictators. But generally in the cities we have young politicians as Bobi Wine making waves because of unemployment, the level of education, and it does appear there's a kind of different opinions depending on who you're talking to in Uganda as to what President Museveni has done and what the future should hold for Uganda, both in the city and in the rural areas. But on a general note, where do you stand, you as an independent observer, foreign international analyst, looking at the situation?
I thank you for your observations. My position is simply that any African leader, any African citizen who is unable to be honest with himself or herself will never be able to be honest with any other person. Now, if some people said he liberated his country, agreed. Does it mean now that because you liberated Uganda and then you must die in power? What is it that he has not done after liberating Uganda? What is it? We knew the time of Uganda under Idi Amin. We knew quite well that he was trying to defend his country against the white, especially by the time he asked also that the way they treated their forefathers, he asked the white people to carry him on their head in protest against that one. We have not forgotten. So, liberation of Uganda, when you look at the story of Uganda, especially from how Idi Amin himself now wanted to defend the country. If you look at the story of Entebbe attack by Israel and link it to politics that we are discussing about this, please, Museveni is not the only one that has been coming out to defend the country. So for me, I think that he has done his own part. He does not need to use force. He does not need to oppress anyone. Why, if for instance you have been doing well in the past 35 years, for instance, will you need to use force? You need the security agents to attack people? Now, is it because of elections that you have to cut off internet services? So what is it that you are hiding? And we see now how the security agents from other sources have been oppressing the ordinary people. So please, my position is so clear in this case. Museveni is already overstaying. If the people want you, if the majority of the people in the rural areas or elsewhere, they want you, you need not engage in any fraudulent election. You need not engage in the use of force. You need not sustain yourself by manu military. That's my position.
Prof, we're still expected to be joined on this program by Richard Semitego. Richard Semitego is the leader of Uganda Federal Front. Hopefully, he'll still be able to join us. We do understand there is a very serious internet crisis following the cutoff of internet services from by the provider. Hopefully, Richard will join us in the course of the program. But, Prof, let me still stay with you on this program. Prof, while the election towards in the run-up to the election, basically, normally there are international observers from Europe, from the US. The international observers from the US were denied accreditation, and they came out to shout a halt to say, look, we've been denied accreditation, and why were they denied accreditations? Nobody could tell. But the government came out openly to say they could not remember the last time Uganda officials were in America to observe American election. On the surface, that may sound nationalistic and appealing, but could that be right, Prof? Prof?
I would say it is rightly wrong. It is rightly wrong. Rightly wrong because let's begin with the aspect of the equation which is right. All member states of the international community are deemed to have sovereign equality, meaning that no country is in terms of status higher than the other. And in this case, international elections is managed and conducted on that basis. So if the Ugandans are now saying they couldn't remember, they may very well in our place.
But Prof, I'm sorry, I may have to cut you short a little bit.
Been coming to your place, and
Prof, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to cut it short. I have Richard because I have a few minutes to go. I have Richard joining us. Richard is the leader of the Uganda Federal Front. Richard, we're glad you're able to join us at last. Richard, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Yeah, thank you so much for hosting me. I'm so sorry for the delay.
All right.
I'm not, I don't know what happened. Even this morning I was on Zoom, but I don't know what happened.
It's all right, Richard. I've got less than 2 minutes to go, but quickly, let me ask you. Let me say this, your reaction. Did the political violence and intimidation of opposition figures in Uganda in the run-up to the January 14 election have any form of impact on that election? The intimidation, the violence, did they have any impact on that election? Even though result coming in has results indicated that President Museveni is leading, and Bobi Wine and other opposition figures have rejected that. But what is your position on this matter as a Ugandan, as a politician, both in Uganda and outside Uganda? What are you saying?
Yes, in any civilized country or any civilized society, the moment elections are being taken over by violence, and the government doing that to, own people, torturing, killing Ugandans, that alone during elections, that is vote rigging, because intimidation is not allowed, torture is not allowed, killing is not allowed. So everything was wrong. And that is a sign of a rigged election, even before the vote was cast. So as Bobi Wine and the other opposition leaders said, we are totally rejecting the results because, opposition Bobi Wine won. Why? In Buganda, Buganda is the largest electoral area in Uganda with the majority of voters. All NRM MPs, Museveni's party, political party, Museveni's party lost in Buganda, and all his ministers are wiped out across the country. So how can you claim a victory when all your MPs in Buganda region are being voted out, your own ministers are being voted out, despite the fact that they use a lot of money, which is also another sign of vote rigging, because you are not allowed to use to pay for voters. That is on its own vote rigging. So everything which is done in this election, it was vote rigging by the incumbent president.
All right, Richard, thank you so much. Because of our time, what does the future hold for both Uganda and President Museveni moving forward?
Well, Ugandans, they outright rejected the results, and Ugandans, they are going to announce the next move. However, we call upon on international community, we call upon Nigerian leadership, we call upon African leadership to stand together with Ugandans who are asking for good governance.
All right, thank you so much, Richard. Richard Semtego. Richard is the leader of the Uganda Federal Front, joining us from London today. Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you so much for your time on the program today. Prof, it's been a pleasure to have you join us on the show. Professor Akinteriwa Bola Akinteriwa, a former Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs and President of Bolitag Center for International Diplomacy and Strategic Studies. Prof, thank you so much for joining us on the program today. This is how far we can go on the program. Sincere appreciation to the team that have joined us to put this program together. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your week. Richard, we'll come back to the issue of Uganda and the election in the country. We'll still come back to you. But thank you for taking the time to join us. And this is how far we can go on the program. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.